community and hood and ghetto. All of these catchwords meant something yesterday, and they mean something different today.
Most of the changes that we've seen in the world was done by young people you guys' age. Okay? 25 and under.
To do this thing, like how Obama said he gonna do something good. He ain't really changed it. He just had a mindset for that.
See, the problem we sit on, we talk about Spanish people. Spanish is a language. Are we English?
No.
What language do we speak? How do we let them identify themselves? Black men that rather identify because they speak Spanish tell you they're Spanish and they're not black. He witnessed it, and this young man witnessed it. When I ask so-called Spanish people, what makes them Spanish? They can't answer me, and I say to them, where is Spain? How many of them told me Spain was in South America?
Yep.
Because they are as miseducated as we are. That's what we got to understand. And we can't be afraid to say it. When I'm riding the train and I hear brothers say, and I don't change the N-word, nigger. I say, my brother, what does that mean? I almost got in a fight with a so-called Latino guy, and I said, suppose I call you a spick. Oh, that don't mean nothing to me. Then you're an asshole. Oh, excuse me, kid. You're an asshole. If you cannot see the things that people put against you. See, when I went to Korea, I was 19 years old. And the man called me boy. He didn't call me soldier or anything. He called me boy. And I say, how big are the boys where you come from? Because you know what you come from, boy, to what's next? Boy to uncle. Because they never want to call you a man. And we never want to ask them, what is this all about? We can't keep sweeping under the rug that this happened. We've been colonized in our own continent and here. If any of you study anything in Africa, you'll be hard-pressed to find an African country that didn't get its independence till after the 70s.
Yep. Late 60s and 70s.
And who were they getting their independence from?
The Caribbean too.
Europe, yes,
the Caribbean
from European people.
The Caribbean as well.
And what's the most hated country in the world?
Haiti.
Thank you. That's right, Haiti. Because Haiti was the first country to stand up and get its freedom. Next is Cuba. Because Cuba went to help fight in Africa to fight against the Congo, the Belgian Congo, against apartheid. None of us know this. Because it don't make no difference. All I got to do is see an exciting movie, keep me, and they will show you exciting movies. They're now showing you black superheroes.
Yeah.
That's our next thing, to get our minds away from what's happening to us. I don't worry about when I die, because I already told you how long I'm going to be here. But the problem is, people keep saying to me, I don't want to live that long. I said, what do you mean you don't want to live that long? Yeah. You don't want to die, but you don't want to live that long.
That's very prevalent in our community.
Yeah.
That's very prevalent in our community.
Yeah.
Even young guys saying they don't want to live like...
Yeah.
Teenagers and guys in the 20s and they don't want to
It's a responsibility to live.
They don't want to get old or become an elder in our communities.
Yeah. It's a responsibility to live. It doesn't make sense to you to have that lovely man and this lovely man, and you don't say, I got to break down them walls in front of us. Oh, that's okay. They'll do it when they get there. And this is what's happening. we say, well, you know, I'd say this because, or I didn't mean it this way and I didn't mean it that way. Do you guys know, if I ask anybody, what's the equivalent on our feminine side to nigger?
Bitch.
Huh?
Bitch.
I shouldn't have asked you, because I would kick that cat in your ass.
Excuse my language.
What is it? Because you a book man, what is it?
Is it bitch?
Huh?
Is it bitch?
It's a bitch, yeah. You know why? Because we've allowed our women to accept themselves as this. And our women think niggas are only men.
Black men. Only black men.
Yes. Yes. They think that. Because they accept themselves in this way. When you could sit around and say, my girlfriend can call me, let a black man call a black woman a bitch. She's ready to fight.
That's true.
I worked in Harlem Hospital when I was 16. And I have to tell you these stories. And the woman went to the supervisor because the woman called her a black bitch. And when he said, what's this all about? He said, she called me a black bitch. And you know what she said after that? I'm not black. Did you anybody hear that? What was it? Was it? I'm not black.
Yeah, break that down for us. Why am I laughing? Why is that funny?
Because instead of saying that this person is cursing you out and calling you this word, instead you say that you're not black, like something's wrong with being black.
Right. That's right. So they focus excellent. So they focus on the black part instead of the other part, the B word part.
Yeah, and that B word was meant for all women. But you turn on your television and watch the station from Atlanta, and there's a white girl in there.
Yeah.
And what is she doing?
Yeah, she's being it up.
And all our ladies got all this hair and everything that what they aren't. They show us bickering amongst ourselves. And then we have some called a counterpart for the men. As long as, and we will run home to sit in front of the TV to watch this foolishness. Believe me.
Yeah, we definitely do.
You know what's coming?
Definitely will.
The Black Bachelor is coming.
Oh yeah.
See, if it becomes successful for them, we will come along and do it and make it so-called successful for us.
Yeah. Yeah. There's gonna be a whole bunch of white women. It's gonna be him trying to get
we got
bunch
stories to tell.
Crazy.
But no, we tell Annie all over again with a black Annie. We tell the Wizard of Oz all over with black people. Let our own artists tell our stories. Because you got to pay those people every time you redo their story.
Can I ask you a question? So why do you think that is? Why do you think that, we have a rich history of writers, right? We have a rich history of playwrights. Why do you think we can continue to...
I'm going to try to answer it by reading this.
To rehatch other people's glory, or what we consider to be other people's glory, instead of our creating and using our own. Because you're correct. And even within the genre, when we do use our own, it's the same plays, right? Like Fences came back out, right? And it's a great movie.
Fences is by a black man.
Right, it is, right? But that's the only one that they keep, that they keep showing, right? It's always Fences.
Can I answer that this way?
Go for it.
I call myself Mr. Ignorant because I don't know how to read. So stay with me. The Miseducation of the Negro is a book originally published in 1933. I love 1933. That's the year I was born. By Dr. Carter G. Woodson. The thesis of Dr. Woodson's book is that African Americans of his day were being culturally indoctrinated rather than taught in American schools. This conditioning, he claims, causes African Americans to become dependent and to seek out inferior places in the greater society of which they are a part. He challenges his readers to become, now, autodidacts, that's what I'm, and to do for themselves regardless of what they were taught. Can that be my answer to what you asked me?
Yeah.
That's why I told you I wanted you to read this. Just that.
Mm.
See, we have to understand, like I said before, we're victims and our teachers are victims.
Mm.
Because our teachers were taught how to treat us.
In the same system.
In the same system.
Yeah.
That book I gave you for the Indian chief, I tell you, when you go in and you see the African part, it tells you how white women were beating slaves.
Hmm.
And you saw...
sometimes worse than the other ones.
Right. See, because our women will jump on that bandwagon that says...
7 years a slave.
12 years a slave.
12 years, excuse me, yeah.
Yeah. Our women will jump on that bandwagon for this freedom. And I keep saying, the freedom that you're talking about is only freedom for white women and white gays.
Yeah.
Because wherever you go, they see you. Can you change how you look? Even Jews during the Holocaust were saying they weren't Jews.
Yeah.
If you study Jesus Christ, when he died, some of his
disciples
said they weren't.
Yeah, said that they weren't. Yeah.
See, we cannot hide who we are.
Yeah.
I don't care if we put red hair in our heads, blue eyes, buy all this stuff.
Yeah.
We cannot hide who we are. I watch black men and black women get on the train and they hold their bottom lip in. Yeah. Because they're ashamed if somebody said, you can't have big lips. Remember what I told you before? You remember what I told you when I first met you? And I said to everybody, who's the best person in the room? And I stood up and I said, if you don't think you, then I have to be. And I turned around and said, look at how fine I am. I don't say I'm better looking than you. I call all of my girls ugly. Because there's more to you. What's inside you, what you get, how you get your education. Without that, nobody respects you. That's what you have to do. That's all I got to say. Take it back.
You know, I really want us to be honest, and part of, you know, I'm very grateful that all of you guys are here, you know, to support me with this. You know, I talk about community and family. I try to live it, you know, and model it to the best of my ability. And I see this as a time for us to unite and come together and be committed to a cause that we should all be committed to, right? And that's making sure that we, as the men, stand up and be men in our communities. Okay, and wanting to make sure that we have proper rites of passage programs so that we could train him, right? And as you guys are, you know, the young men, right, that we can bring you guys up through your teenage years and your 20s and into your 30s so that we can set things up and get it going. And so I also believe in hearing from you all, because the one thing that we often don't do, and it's becoming even more clear to me as I get older, is we have so many surface relationships with one another, right? And because of that, at times that's what causes us to not value each other the way that we should value each other, right? So if I know, you know, very little about you, and this happens even in families, right? It's I see you every once in a while, we talk, and it's always the, you know, how's your year going, how are your classes, like just the same stuff, and it never gets beyond that. And so, you know, we face those kinds of issues. So for us to take time, and this could be a starting point. And then, we have meetings for those of you guys don't know, on Fridays, back in Brooklyn at the church right next door to where I live, to continue the conversation, right? So it's not a one-time thing, because, we love events, right? As black folks, because that's part of our culture, right? But then continuing the work, as Stokely Carmichael said.
To bring input.
Yes,
Bring your input into what.
The big thing we have to do is organize. And we can't just organize with the adults and say, oh, okay, fine, we got all the adults, and then we come and tell y'all what to do. Most of the changes that we've seen in the world was done by young people you guys' age.
And Donald Trump is saying that he's going to do something bad, but you don't know if he's really going to do this thing, like how Obama said he's going to do something good. He ain't really changed it. He just had a mindset for that. So if Trump was just saying this, there's two things you could say to that. Either he was just saying that so he would get the whites on his side, or he could just be saying that to just to say it, and then maybe
start a scholarship to this young man.
Yeah.
We better start a scholarship.
That's what I want him to come.
If you listen to the radio had a left and a right. You went to one end of the station and you heard people talking to you. You went to the other end and you heard people talking about you. And if you never know or want to know what your enemy think about you, that becomes your problem. We're going to boycott Donald Trump because we don't like him coming in. We better try to see what Donald Trump is doing. We can't close our eyes to what's happening and then go around cussing this man. Just like I said to the brothers on the bus when they're calling out niggas, when we're calling ourselves this, what are these young kids going to call themselves if they hear their daddies and their granddaddies calling themselves this? And then we're going to say it's the white man's fault. It may be. But when do we take the medicine that we need and spit out the garbage that they put into us? That becomes our problem.
Yeah. That's
And I
true.
keep calling it standing in the shadow of love. The world's in need of love today for us black people. We got to learn to love ourselves, even if it means that we have to knock it into the heads of our children. Because the man is saying, don't touch them. You know, in my time coming up, when I said something stupid, somebody in that house hit me in the head.
Yeah.
And I didn't run out and say, I'm going to call the cops. Because I realized, whether I understood it then, but I understood it later, why they were saying it to me. See, we got all these here kids today, white kids as well. They go home, they get their money, it's mine, it's mine, it's mine. Whenever one of these children go out and sell a newspaper, whatever they're selling, they must bring it home to daddy and mommy and put it on the table and let daddy and mommy tell them what that money is about. But our kids are buying anything they want. And then we're buying them $400 sneakers. We're buying them Timberlands and stuff like that. And there's a guy down the street selling the same thing for $29. But we ain't going to buy that because it's cheap. But we spend, then we eat cheap food.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, that is very true.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's what I say.
everything we should be spending more money on, we spend no
Our
money on.
Remember what I said to you?
Oh my God.
Remember what I said today?
So
we have baby christenings, we have baby showers, and we have birthdays and everything. And what do? Let's get that baby the best present. No, get the baby some and take that money and give it to the parents. Say, put that money away for your child's college. We keep depending on somebody else to educate us. Whether we like it or not, that's what segregation is about. To empower ourselves. Oh, I'm going to ask them and tell them what they owe us. Because as soon as they see that we're trying to get what they owe us, that's when they're going to try and knock us down. When you think about, I don't know how many of you know what Black Wall Street was about. Because whenever they seem to think that we're doing something for ourselves, when you think about, I don't know how many of you know what Black Wall Street was about. Because whenever they seem to think that we're doing something for ourselves,